Hey y'all, Emily here from fairairmusic.com. Today I'm going to show you how to mix bass in just 5 minutes by using some of my favorite techniques to get a great bass sound in your mix that's super quick and super easy. You know, bass is one of those elements that you can really overthink and make more complicated than it should be. So I wanted to share with you how I mix bass with simple processing that works great every time with any style of music. So first, let me play you a little bit of this song here to see what style we are working with today.
You've got your list of people who you think will get you high.
So that's got a really cool bass line in this one. That's why I wanted to show you that real quick. You know, one of the things that I see too often is people putting all kinds of plugins on the bass using low-end enhancers, and it just becomes kind of a blobby mess, and it doesn't translate well on different listening devices and environments. So as you can see, I don't like to put a lot of plugins on the actual audio tracks. Those are just audio tracks to me. What I like to do, and here is the bass, and I'm sending that to a group track here. Now this is kind of like my console that, you know, I feel like by mixing this way, I'm cutting down on a lot of that junk and a lot of that temptation to put all kinds of plugins on these tracks. And so I just like to go back to a simpler, old school way of mixing because, I mean, if it's not broke, don't fix it, right? Now, if you're not familiar with my videos, I do rely heavily on my mixing template that already has this technique set up and ready for me to use. And if you'd like this template, I do have them available in Pro Tools, Studio One, Logic, and Luna. I'll have a link in the description for that so that you can download this same exact template and use this technique that's already set up for you. There's no other template out there quite like this one with my pre-calibrated parallel buses, so don't forget to check that out. Link is in the description. Now I've got this broken down into a couple of steps here. My first step is EQ. So I've got just the Pro Q3 here, and I'm not really even doing anything quite yet. These are the plugins that will be included in that template, and I've got this Distressor on a bass warm mixing preset. And I'll show you what I like to do with that, but I'm just keeping it, you know, how it is at first. Now I've got a couple of parallels here that will go right down here, and they are all the way turned down, so we're not feeding that just yet. You're not listening to that. So let's go ahead and solo up the bass so that we can hear what all of this is doing to the overall sound. So first things first, let's just see how it sounds through the Distressor, because that's how I'm going to hear it once I merge it with my template. So that already sounds really cool. I love just the overall performance of that bass in this song. So what I think we might be able to do is just clean that up a little bit, because it's not, you know, heavily weighted. It's not that style of music. So I'm going to pull up the high pass filter just a little bit and see how that affects the Distressor. Okay, so that just tightens up everything. It just pushes everything. It really just pushes everything to those frequencies that we like. It cuts out all this stuff so that this area that we want becomes more of a focus. So initially, that's all I'm going to do. So next, I want to check out the Distressor here. Now, I really like this setting, but what I like to do is really just toggle between the ratio here. And 3:1 and 4:1 is really where I like bass. So let's check that out. Okay, so I'm really liking the 4-to-1. I feel like that's just where I want it. It just sounds tighter, focused, kind of falls apart a little bit at 3-to-1 and 6-to-1. I feel like I lose some tone, some essence to it. It just feels like it's a little too squashed. So 4-to-1 sounds great. I really like the settings on that, so we're going to keep it there. And one thing I want to mention, since we're not really doing anything, too heavily on the EQ at this point anyways, is because I can hear, that typical area that we like in a bass, something around 80, 90, and 100. And it's also filling up really nicely in all of those areas that we are used to hearing in a bass, something that low end that we really like. And also in this, I can hear the string part, the pokiness of it. I'll let you listen to that again. So we've got that nice low end. And then we also have our mid-range. We can hear the strings. So we're sitting pretty good with this one. If I didn't hear enough of that come through, the string sound, then I would probably increase a little bit around, 600 to 800. I think that's a pretty good range to bring that up. But just, you have to use your ears in that situation and just increase so that you can kind of balance between the low end and the string. If you can get those balanced, you're in a good position. So now the next step, I feel like the secret sauce to this whole process is parallel compression. And so I've got two set up here. Now I have a bass compressor that I've got right here sending to a Fairchild. If you don't have this plugin, I would just recommend some sort of a tube, your Varimu style compressors here. I just really love the overall tone of this one and what it brings into my bass sound, and I'll show you what that's doing. And I've just got this sent up at 0, and we're going to use the bass compressor return to put that back into our mix. So let's bring that in. So I don't feel like it got any louder, nothing too noticeable, but man, it really fills everything out with that entire bass spectrum, right? So let's listen to it without and with. I just feel like it just adds something a little bit musical to it, really fills things out. I love the compression. It's just, I don't know, there's just something there. I feel like it's like the secret sauce to that. Now, something else that I've got going on, I've always had this sent to a bass sub track right here, but now I'm calling it bass plus because sometimes I will need to add a little bit more low end weight to that. If I want to add a little bit more sub harmonic to the overall bass, then I'll bring in the R bass here and I will, set that to a frequency that I need to fill out a little bit more, to weight down a little bit more. But also I have kit plugins barrier on here that will add some distortion and kind of grit that up a little bit. Now, why would I want to use this? Well, I would use this if I really needed to add some grit to that, to have the bass cut through a lot of the low end. If this was something that was pretty heavy, I don't know, like a pop dance mix or something like that, that was real low end heavy, and I needed certain parts of that bass to poke through, then I would add this a little bit on the mid range. I've got the low end cut quite a bit there. And then I would add this. So let's see what that sounds like if I needed to kind of grit up this bass and have it poke out, stick out a little bit more in the mix. hear how it's just affecting kind of that string sound. It's starting that up a little bit, making it a little bit distorted. And that's for something if you needed more kind of cut through. Now, vice versa, if you needed it to be a little bit more bass heavy, a little bit more weighted, then we've got the R bass here. So let's bring that in. But anyways, those are my favorite techniques when mixing bass. It literally takes just minutes to execute and won't stop your mixing process. It's not about mixing fast, but it is about not overthinking and dwelling too long on a specific instrument. So if you did like this video and found something helpful in it, please hit that subscribe button to check out more videos just like this one. Also, head over to my website at fairairmusic.com to find even more helpful guides and videos, as well as my premium products that are guaranteed to help your mixes sound more professional and commercially competitive. Thanks so much for watching, y'all. We'll talk soon.